hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, middle of the night. How is
Very early
everyone?
morning.
Amey needs sleep. I feel Amy's a trooper. It's always like 1 a.m. or something for you,
It's
which
wonderful.
sucks. So, all right. So, we've got some. I love people that are on time. I really do.
I appreciate it.
Yes, we appreciate it. So, just so that we know that people can hear us, because we don't like to, well, we do just like talking, and we will carry on, but we'd like to know that at least you can hear us. So if you could just go ahead and say yes, you can hear us, or maybe tell us where you're dialing in from.
And a thumbs up means we both look great.
Yeah, so give us
Thanks.
a thumbs up as well
So
if you want.
yeah, at least 2 people think we look great today. That's all right.
Awesome. No one wants to chat. You should be able to get to the chat. And also, if you have any questions, Rhiannon, I'm really glad you were able to make it in. So that's good. Hopefully that link worked. At least I think that's the same person, so that's good. Cheltenham, I used to live near Cheltenham, good place. So do you know where that is?
No.
Gloucestershire, Oxfordshire, Cheltenham.
Oh, it's in the south. That's
I
why
used to
I
get a
don't
bus
know.
from Burford, which is in the middle. I used to go to Cheltenham on my days off when I worked in a hotel. There you go.
Ooh, posh
Exciting.
girls living in the
Right.
south.
You're welcome, Rhea. I'm glad you got in. All right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to share my screen and we're going to talk about the September release and what is new, or what is GA, what is going on. All right, so we have our what's new in Dynamics 365 Custom Insights Journeys, and we've got a bit of a theme. But the first one is just kind of, well, we were like, why is this even in? And then we actually read it this morning and we were like, oh, okay, now we get it. So at first look,
slightly more polished version of what we rambled through earlier today. Do go on.
So first thing is outbound marketing will be hidden and then removed. So I went in and I was like,
we already knew that, Megan. So yeah, what does that mean?
It's gone. And so there's no button anymore to unhide it or show it again. And we were like, oh, okay, well, thanks for letting us know. And then we actually read it. And I think we might have talked about this on one of the previous calls, maybe last month or before, where Microsoft had said that we've basically got these phases. So we're in phase 2. And this is the important part, and this, I guess, is why we are getting this in the September release, is that they are adding non-dismissible message dialogue. So basically a pop-up when you try and do something, when users try to create outbound marketing assets such as journeys, emails, segments, and so on. And this is the part where they're basically aiming to have all of those blocking dialogues enabled by the end of this month, unless you have an approved extension.
Is phase 3. Block is phase, like they've not said it, but basically they're saying phase 3 starts at the end of September.
Yeah.
So yeah, unless you have that exclusion, you're in phase 3. We're gonna scream and shout at you if you try and create stuff, and there's no way around it.
That was much smoother than this morning.
So slick.
We actually know what it means now, but that is why it's in September. So hopefully no one on this call, because everyone's really good, no one's using outbound anymore. And if you've got any clients, they're either all off it or almost off it. So,
or they have a really good reason and already have done the extension.
Yes, exactly. So the next, 4 of them are actually all about forms, aren't they?
Yes, lots of things in GA, which is nice. It's not shiny new toys, but hopefully it's a bit of stability. So,
well, you
it's
say
good.
That, but the first one is straight to GA, which we gotta love something that goes straight to GA because there'll never be any issues, right, guys?
It's gonna be perfect. Everything's always great.
Has anyone used this yet? So this is the ability to filter choices, and they say filtered choices, but it is basically lookup fields.
Yeah.
So I feel like the wording's a bit off. So
wait, didn't we go through this and maybe choices is possible and you can actually do mappings to say this choice has a relationship with this choice.
Are we doing what we did this morning and not reading? No, it says cascading lookup fields.
Ooh. Yeah, you're right. I optimistically imagined that this would be for choices.
You wished, but it's not. So it is badly worded, right?
All right, Jeannie, wish denied. Next.
Wish denied. Sorry, move along. But it's the wording of it, isn't it? It's like they use the word choices, but yet Microsoft has forced choices upon us as a term for option sets. So it's badly worded. So basically, if you have, you've got to have, let's say 2 lookups, and one of them must have a relationship back to the other one. So if you add on, so I tried this and then gave up because I don't have any lookups on a contact that actually have a relationship. So I just pulled on 2 random lookups just to see what would happen. And it basically says there's no relationship found. So you have to have, essentially, one of the records has to then have a lookup to the other record. So then you can add it on and you can do filtering. So I can't remember what we said. Countries, states, cities, something like that.
Usually location based, or if you have like maybe like on a lead, like a set of products and sub-products.
Yes.
That's the kind of thing I've seen it on as well. It's quite specific and very specific, actually, I'm going to say. But again, we're saying like, why is this a thing? And it's because it was available in outbound.
Yeah.
So I think it's one of those, they kind of have to do it. And I remember on the outbound marketing transition calls, it did come up quite a few times. To say it's such a tiny feature, a lot of people brought it up. And I guess it's something that you can't achieve with JavaScript. So I guess that's also why is like they need to give us some way to do it. But speaking of JavaScript, because I talk about this thing now. This feature also means we can work with lookups using lookup fields on the forms using JavaScript, which we previously couldn't. And there is a little bit of documentation on it as well.
Do you have a link, Amy?
I will put a link in the chat to this documentation. So it's the existing section for how to use JavaScript with marketing forms, but they've got a specific section about lookups with a little example. So I know a few people that have hit these limits, so it's nice that we can now do that as well.
Very cool. And just saying, hi, Deb. I see you joined.
Hi, Deb.
I used to work with Deb.
I don't know you either, but I know you know each other. So hi.
Hi. So I think this one and this one we should just talk about together because it's essentially the same thing. So the second item here and then this 4th item here. So this has been in preview for a while, but I would say that there are people that have been using this even though it's preview, but it's now GA. So this is essentially the unmapped fields or the equivalent of a custom. They're called unmapped though, which I just find really, it just sounds bad. Like we couldn't be bothered, so we've unmapped them, or we haven't mapped them. I don't know.
Or they sound broken.
They do. It doesn't sound good. So custom fields, we can rename them that. So those are the questions where it's you don't necessarily want to store that information on the contact, but you want to gather it. It feels like that's more common on an event registration form than just a regular standard form. When someone's saying, hey, I'd like a demo, or I'd like to, you know, get more information from you, or I'm downloading a white paper, but it's there on both. So
I mean, they have been making some little changes to those as they've gone along, so hopefully they will get, like, they're probably in a much better shape now than they were if you looked at them early on. So things like the labels, the JSON that they pass through for these fields now is actually really detailed. It has like the value behind the scenes, the label value. I think yes and no's are now actually showing yes and no rather than 1 and 0. So there is a lot more value in what they're sending back now, which is nice. And then it'll be good to see where that goes, whether the event ones start looking different or.
Am I right that you've written a blog, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot and say you should write one, but did you write a blog that was where you took the values that were from the form submission and put them onto a lead or a contact, so it was like clearly?
Yes, doing the mappings. I probably need to go back to that and look at it as well, because I've done like the form summary.
Yeah.
as well, because it used to be like things weren't quite right, whereas now rather than just getting like a key value, actually you get the whole JSON in a separate
Hmm.
field. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably something I could do with that. So that's a good volunteering because I was looking for an idea. So thank you.
Yeah.
I will do something with that.
Do
So
it.
yes,
Do it. So a few comments
forms
on.
now have custom. Oh, sorry,
No,
go on.
I
Yep.
was going to say a few comments on that. Deb says she managed to. I love the English bodge word bodge.
Bodgy. Yep.
Basically push event registration. Sorry, custom fields into an event registration before it's available. Yeah, there's a lot of things that we can basically copy the HTML, but glad you found a way around that. If these are not stored in Dataverse, so the values are stored in Dataverse because they're in the event registration. The form submission. Thank you. So they are in there. It's just that you would need to do something with it if you wanted to then take them and put them somewhere else. So again, that's what I was talking about. Amy's got a post that would at least give you a good starting point. So amyholden.com, go and check it out. You're welcome. And then also exporting form submissions. I saw a post from somebody. It's in the not just promoting Amey myself, but it's in the D365 Marketing Weekly newsletter that somebody else wrote where they had built something for the exporting of the submissions to get everything. So
I have done it. I've not blogged about it.
No, it's one of those messy things, really, isn't it? Icky sometimes to write about something. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically what I did in mine was here's how to create a summary and a JSON summary. And then what you can do is basically extend that to pick up the JSON and export to XML. Excel, sorry, not XML. It's a different problem. So yeah, there's quite a few things you can do, but yeah. Anyway, so they are stored in Dataverse, but they're just stored in the field submission key value pairs. They're not put onto the lead or contact record. So they are a bit icky to get to if you're not technically minded and it's like 3 or 4 clicks away. So it is nice to still put them into a summary on the timeline, for example, or make them exportable. But they are there, but they are still a bit icky to get to.
So Rebecca's question about using the answers to create segments based off the unmapped fields, I would say you could, but again, it's going to be really, as Amey said, icky and maybe not all that reliable. So if I would say if there's something that you want to be using based on building a segment, it really should be a field rather than an unmapped or a custom field.
Yeah, there is things where you want a segment, but it shouldn't be a field. Like there is things, and I've been in the situation. So what I've done in the past and got it slightly wrong, so I'll tell you how to not get it slightly wrong. Creating this summary. So when a form is submitted, I grab the field submissions, create a summary that's in free text and a summary that's in JSON. Then you can use the segment to filter on the specific
JSON or something?
Contains.
Yeah.
Make sure the field size of your field that you're running the contains on is less than 4,000 characters or the segment stops working.
Okay.
So if you run contains over a field that's more than 4,000 characters, the whole segment just stops updating, doesn't tell you, and just stops updating.
Icky.
But basic icky, but yeah, shove the text in a summary, run the conditions on the summary text, be really careful and smart about how you run those conditions, keep the field length 4,000.
Good points. All right, so back to this one that was in the middle that I skipped over. Yes. So this has been again another one in preview for ages, and this is just the ability to say when I'm creating this form, we could do it for a lead or a contact, which was horrible because it was all completely separate and it never didn't care that there was already a contact that existed, would have no way to link it, but we have the ability to say, actually, it's a lead and contact, and now we can do all sorts of different rules for the checking and also rules to say, if there is no lead, do we create one? If there is no contact, do we create one? Do we update the contact? Blah, blah, blah. So we've got all those different options available to us.
Yes. Do we want to slightly segue to form matching strategies for a second?
Yes.
In the essence of forms, if you might have been you might remember, you might not have seen it, you might have been saved the torture. They a couple of months ago brought out a new ability with the form matching rules and a whole new interface. So that's the rules that you define about matching the contact. Like the default's normally email address only, but they brought in this thing where you could do and or and but not, and it was really cool. But it broke a lot of things, and they quickly removed it and put it back. And it's come back again. So in the latest release, it's come back with a hopefully better migration path.
Since it's been
Yeah, and now I have customers with problems. So the functionality has changed. So you used to be able to have a field in the matching strategy that could be on the form and optional. So the example of my customer was matching on a customer ID. So we're using link from an email, pre-filled fields that are hidden. One of those was a customer ID, because then we can match on it on the way back in if it's there. If it's not, fine. We don't know them, or the pre-fill didn't work. Fine. But then the field is optional and hidden. Now the new rules for the new matching strategy means that the field has to be marked as required.
Because you've got it in the matching strategy.
Yes. And you cannot publish the form if the field is not marked as required, but it's not a field that should be required. So there's a change in how it works. So hopefully that gets changed back to allow you to, but just warns you and says like, hey, this might break something.
Yeah.
And you go, it's okay, I got it, no worries. So just a warning about that. And also, if you get chance and it has come around to you, just make sure it's doing what it's doing, because I saw it do some crazy stuff. Our lead matching rule got updated from like first name, last name, and email to just first name. And it was just matching on any lead. It was like, yeah, no worries. Everyone's names are changing. It was absolute carnage. So go and check it if you're using forms and matching strategies, just to be sure.
So that also is a good little side segue to the situation that that came up yesterday, where so this is the fun one, and Amey says, oh yes, it could happen quite a bit. I'm like, I don't know if it could or not, but in theory it could. So I do the D365 Marketing Weekly newsletter. I send it out from my own Customer Insights Journeys environment. Okay. In that newsletter, I had a link to a blog post or an article from a Microsoft partner. And so one of the guys messaged me and said, hey, thanks for putting it in there. That's awesome. We also got some referrals. I really appreciate it. Awesome. Then he said, fun fact or fun thing that happened was all of the submissions that came through from my newsletter, because they could see, because they're in the UTM parameters, so they could see in the form submission URL, and they were all failing. It took them a while to figure out, but basically on the end of the URL was that tracking context ID that gets passed through. So when someone gets the email, clicks on the link, it passes through and it's in the URL. So apparently, found this out, got it confirmed from Microsoft. What it does is, even if your form matching rule only has email address, it will also say, oh, but hang on a second, there is tracking context in here too. So if there's a match and there's multiple records, it will go for the one that also matches the tracking context. But because all of the contacts were in my system and they were being passed through, none of them were being found. So the form submission was just failing. So there you go. So fun fact. And the message is something really dumb that doesn't say anything like that. So hopefully they'll change it
funny.
And they'll allow it to fail, but also still create the record, or at least give a better message.
It shouldn't fail.
It should,
it
no,
should
it
just
shouldn't.
go, I don't know this tracking context. Maybe it's not mine.
Yes.
Like, it's outrageous. Like, my argument to why I think this is common is, if Microsoft's goal is to become the best marketing platform in the world, then everyone's going to have marketing, customer insights journeys, marketing forms on the websites. We all know that's not going to happen. But if it did, as soon as one goes to another, we're stuffed.
It's almost like they're not backing themselves, isn't it?
No.
Yes. So this one, this is another one this morning we read through, and Amey and I, neither of us does the data side of things. And I think we came to the conclusion that this is
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay, you
So
go.
we argued we didn't even argue, we debated for a while what on earth this was. Almost convinced ourselves it was nothing new and it was something really old that had finally gone GA. And then we finally decided what we are pretty sure it is. So now we have customer insights data. You can mark it to a lead, a contact, or a customer insights data profile. Okay, this is the bit we missed. A customer insights data profile is now actually linked to a contact. There's like a little intersect table that it creates in the background. I don't know if it links to leads. I don't think it does. But anyway, so if I choose to segment and create a segment of customer insights data people, or whatever they are these days,
Profiles,
interacted people, and I send in a marketing email to them, all their interaction data, like their clicks and sends from the emails, don't go anywhere because they don't have anywhere to go. But now what they're going to start doing is taking those clicks and reads and sends, looking at which customer insights data person it is, and then moving that interaction data to show on the contact timeline that is linked to the customer insights.
Or lead. So it must do that as well.
So it must do both.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a gap in my knowledge. But basically, if you're using customer insights database segments, your insights will now also show in Dynamics, which previously they apparently do not. Yay!
Anyone using that? Let us know. So then we've got a couple of things related to APIs. So the first one, and this, because we've got quite a few people on here that have been using the system for a while, so you might have, as in you the viewer, you not Amy, not me, you might have some ideas and say, actually guys, this is what we want to use it for. This is the API that will allow you to work with journeys and basically automate journey creation. Now, the flaw that we think is in this, right? I think I can do a plural we, is that you have to use templates for journeys. So if I've gone to the trouble of creating templates, I've already got my emails ready, I've already got my segments ready, why the heck would I then go off and use an API and sit there and build something? Because if I'm building something, then that means it must be something repetitive or that is a repeatable thing, in which case then I need a template for it. And the template interface is utterly crap because I've got to create the journey first and then save it as a template.
Yeah, so by the point you got a template, where's the benefit in the automation? I don't get it.
Yeah. So is anyone I was excited about that before I realized what it actually was, as in like the limitations of it. So I'm just curious if anyone is.
Maybe it's baby steps. Maybe this is the start of something beautiful. So I guess you got to start somewhere. So I guess maybe this is the start of it, and then eventually it'll be like, oh, you don't need to use templates and you can change all the things. Ish.
Yeah, I think Rhiannon's right. She says it seems quite specific use cases, and I agree. And I'm sure there will be some edge cases, but that's what it feels like it was built for, is the edge
So
cases.
unless you get a lottery client or a really lazy user that can't create journeys in multiple time zones and would rather build an automation to do it, then I don't know what we're looking at here.
But it's funny because the ones with the lazy users are probably the ones that wouldn't necessarily have somebody with the skills to go off and say, I'm going to repeat this and I'm going to use it. So it's a bit, I don't know. But this one, using the Events API real-time journeys, you've done quite a bit with that because you were doing stuff with the old one, right, for outbound?
Yes. So back in the old days of the old outbound marketing portal, I delved into that a bit for some reason, for torture purposes of self. And so why a little bit of like what is the Events API? It's basically, it's got very specific functions in it that are specific to events. So it does specific things, like it will go and retrieve a list of sessions for you. Yes, you could just use the Dataverse Web API, but these have pre-built like little functions that do specific sets of things, and it uses all the logic that the events team has built. So you don't have to go rebuild it yourself. So if you're going to build something like your own custom website for your event registrations, you need to be using an API of some sort. Ideally, the best practice is use the events API where available, fall back to the Dataverse API when you have to. So this has been around, obviously, for a little bit of a while, hanging around in preview, and they've added now recently a lot more functionalities. I think when it first came out, you could just register and list events, and now they're bringing out stuff like listing sessions and speakers and sponsors. So kind of they're just slowly building up the library of what this API can do. And I think actually this is due to go GA, I think next month, was it? In the release notes, I think. Something along those lines. It's scheduled for GA not that far away. So they're really ramping up this API to make it so
it's taken me to
good
wave
as...
one. That's helpful, isn't it?
Of course it has. It's soon. Yeah. So yeah, just getting that up to speed so then you can build your own website and use the events API. Yeah, exciting if that's what you want to do, but just be aware it is still in preview, so be careful about how you use it because they could rip stuff up and change it without any notice.
Yeah.
Until GA.
Yeah, so was that
October.
one? No, that's that. Yeah, October. Yeah.
October, apparently.
So cool. Okay, so so those are all the new things, or GA things that we have.
Yes.
All very exciting. Do you want to say something cool?
Yes.
Ledger today?
Yes.
So
this is really impressive.
I don't think she's on the call. Let's see. No. So somebody contacted me via my website and said, do you think it's possible to add search and filtering on an event where you're using the event form with session registrations? And so what they do, it is education, like they do like open days, they do like taster weeks for people considering, and they can go ahead and pick and choose, and they have like potentially 100 sessions that are on there. So I can totally see why they wanted it. So I was like, oh, let me have a look. So I asked ChatGPT to make me a list of 80 sessions, so I could have a track for 2 different sessions at each time slot for each day within a week. So what I did was then I basically went through and I built out a filtering system. So what we've got is all of the sessions. I've got 80 sessions that are listed on here. And then I wanted to do like, okay, well, what's a keyword search? So I could just type in marketing and then it will filter and say, right, I found 5 sessions. So I can go ahead and say, right, I definitely want to attend these ones. So then I can reset my filters. Then what I've got is at the end of each session summary, it could just be you and I that are going to be excited by this, Amy, I don't know.
I'm still impressed.
So I thought, well, I want to have a category, or maybe there's like a location. Now we are limited with what Microsoft have given us on these forms, where we get the session title, we get the session summary, and we get the start and end time. And I thought, if I've got a repeated logical thing that I can scrape, where I put category at the end of it, I can then basically build a category list. So I can say, well, give me all the Power Apps categories. So I've got 20 sessions that are Power Apps. Now, what I'll also have is when something else has already been booked in or selected at same time slot and same date, it is disabled. Because you don't have to do that, because I could just pick and choose. But if it's more like clear cut where you're taking somebody else's spot if you pick that, so it's locked out. Then I could go ahead and do it by date, so I can go ahead and pick, and then I could also even say and also by time, and then I can reset all that, and then I can see here's everything that I've selected in that. So if I then go ahead and fill that out, the other thing that, because I'm showing and hiding things on the page, and any of you that have looked at it know that that submission confirmation of the sessions is actually still on the same page. The form just basically says, ta-da, here you go.
Yeah.
Because I was showing and hiding things, if I don't show them all again, then it will only show the things that are still visible. So what I did instead is I did a redirect.
I'll build it myself.
I thought I'll do it myself, and then I'll pass that information through in what we call the session storage. I know you know, but if anyone isn't sure, so in a browser, that you basically can store information. So I'm passing through what they've registered for, and now I can style this however I want and say, all right, thanks, here's what you've registered for, and still send them an email via a journey, whatever. So
can you show the session data just for the little geeky moment if you open it up just to show us where it is?
Oh, in the browser?
In the browser, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I didn't understand what session data was until you showed me it here.
So if I go into and inspect it and go into the application, so you've got local storage, which I'm not saying there isn't a time and a place for, but we as people doing this shouldn't really be using it because you are storing it in there for life. Session storage is literally that. It is the session that I'm in. So as soon as I close it, it clears it out of that.
Yeah.
So we've basically just got a little
nice.
I don't know if you can see much of it. That's basically like concatenated them
it's
together.
A chunk of JSON. That's your session submissions, and then you're showing that in a pretty thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's much better than doing it in a cookie because we shouldn't be using cookies for that. So it's literally, that's the purpose. I can pass it through in the session storage, display it. I'm done. I close it. It clears it out of the session storage.
Yeah.
Job done.
Nice.
So it's not a bad little.
Beautiful.
I mean, yeah, they should have that anyway, I feel. But I thought that's actually quite a nice little filtering tool.
I mean, it's a nice hybrid to not building like your own website, but also like, because that's just an embedded form, right?
It's literally
taking. Sorry, I don't mean to demean it.
No. It's taking the I took the starting one and then just basically like ripped it apart, butchered it. This is just the event summary at the top. Yes. And then we've got all of the sessions, and we've just got the block that you get from Microsoft that is locked. Mm-hmm. But we can go ahead and use JavaScript. We can also then change the formatting of the date, wow. So it's actually in UK format rather than US. So yeah, not bad, eh?
It's still really impressive.
It's pretty chuffed with that.
I'm jealous. I like it.
Well, I like it too. I just don't have a use for it myself, but
yeah, well.
Richard must be English. Do you see what he's just typed?
Not bad, mate. Not bad.
Not bad at all. That you've got to be English, Richard. Only an English person would say not bad at all.
It's a big
quite good.
Though.
That's quite good. Yeah, that's such a compliment, isn't it, from an English person?
Not bad, mate.
So, anything else you can think of? Anything you've been?
What have I been doing? Well, I told you about something I did this morning, but then after we spoke, I completely want to rebuild it.
Oh, yes. That might help somebody else.
I wonder if we can talk through this without it being too boring. But first, Claire has talked about something that I feel like we should go and look up first before we start.
Oh, yes. I've seen that.
Or is it completed with warnings? What is this?
Did it say anything about time zone, Claire? So I had a client that had this, and it said completed with warnings, and then it said something time zone, and then there was a way to set a time zone, and I can't remember there ever being a time zone before. And if you go into your list of segments and you look at columns, time zone isn't a column that you can add.
So, and it's stored as JSON, of course.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if that is what it was related to, Claire. So what happened was they got the error. They went in and they set the time zone. They thought, oh, it's still an issue. But then the next day it had gone because it had gone through and run it again and it cleared itself out. But it is something that I would go in and go back and check and look and see if there's a time zone that you can set. It was really bizarre because I'm like, it's one of those things where like, I can't say for certainty whether that was there before. I don't feel like it was there on a segment.
I don't think so.
No, but it's one of those like, it's just a gut thing. It wasn't there, but obviously I don't have I'm pretty sure it wasn't on there before.
I also want to say, have you tried turning it off and back on again as well? Yeah, turn it off and on again, go and poke it.
Yeah,
Yeah, and also more likely with old segments. I think they've introduced something new that's then caused old ones to
I
regress,
think
which is
so
quite
too.
scary.
Yep,
Quite scary.
I agree.
Completed with warnings, but no one got warned. The classic. Anyway, I can imagine it. Ugh, anyway, yeah, sorry, I'm going to put my positive pants back on. So, I was trying to build something for a customer, which is around having a weekly email that goes out that's got product recommendations. And the product recommendation content should change based on the person. So, based on the persona of the contact, we send them different things. And
Yep.
obviously, those things change every week because I've got different offers on, and there's different things at different times a year that I want to advertise.
Mm-hmm.
So, trying to work out ways that we could make that nice and scalable and flexible without creating a new email every week. So, what I'd started to do was basically I'd set up some data as a custom table that stores the product name, the link, the name, the description, yada, yada, and then actually using the specific record references
Mm-hmm.
inside the email to say, if it's this person, grab this record and put the name here, grab this record, put the image there. And then we're basically going to have that as like a set of master data. And then they'd have to come in and update the data to update the email content, which was okay because it was better than nothing. But then you told me about a way smarter method
I've
about
had a
how to
much
do
smarter
this.
day. Yes, that's
Yeah,
smart
I
of
was trying
me.
to read and talk at the same time, and I completely just like fluffed it.
So I'll
It's
show
1:30 in
you.
the morning.
I know you're doing
Show
brilliant.
us.
So I'll show you an example. So what Amey basically, this is the second time I have taken this approach. So now, and I think I will probably always do this, if I have something that I want to use in emails, either with conditional content or I want to display it in a list, what I've done, and I've done this is actually on a blog post now, as you can see. So I've done this to create a blog post table and basically have the RSS feed that goes out when I've got a new blog post published. It then goes ahead and creates a record. Then what I've got is, because I've just added the table, we don't want to have to go ahead and say, oh, use the other tables option in lists or something like that. It's messy and I don't want to have to hard code it. So
No,
what I've got is, because my blog posts just sit as a table,
it's reference data.
whether we like it or not, it has a relationship to the owning to a business unit, and the contact also has a relationship to a business unit. Luckily for me, I only have one business unit. It's not to say you couldn't do it with multiple, but basically the list I'm going through from the contact to the owning business unit of the contact, which also happens to be the same business unit as my new table called blog posts. Then what I'm able to do is say, right, pull in all of these columns that I want to use, and then I can obviously
Magic.
set filtering, I can set how
Yeah.
many, and then what I can do is I can do something like this where I've got my apply to each, and I'm basically like pulling everything into it so that I can then display what I want to display. So I've done it for the blog post. I've also done it for a one-time marketing message where I can quickly go in, and I've got an email with conditional content that is doing a list looking at that table. And when I go on holiday or vacation, or it's Christmas time or whatever, I can go ahead and add a marketing message, put a start date and an end date, put the message I want, slot it into the email. So if there's a marketing message, it displays that extra bit of content. Hey, it's going to be 2 weeks until I get back to you, whatever it might be. So if you want something like that, then consider just adding a table. And then when you go in and pull in your list, do it and link it through to the owning business unit, find that table, and then just set some kind of filtering criteria onto it, and then you can use it in your email. And it's so easy to preview, like, and test, because you just pick any old contact and then it'll display the data.
And the question is very valid that you might be thinking is, why do we have to go via something to get there? Can I not choose a list? Very good question. That's what I wanted to do. But we have to go, if you want a list, it either needs to be a specific record, which then gives you a list somehow, I'm not sure how, or you got to go via a contact relationship. So this is freaking genius because I did not work this out.
I'll say
And
it was honestly, it was one of those stumbled upon and
yes,
thought, oh, hang on a second, there is a relationship here, so we must be able to do it. People are still talking about segments, so I think they don't
I
care about
know.
this.
I know,
Um,
clearly I know, segments suck. I'm sorry, guys. I get it.
yeah, they do. Sorry.
But I like Megan's idea better. I care more about your thing, Megan. I need to go and rebuild something I spent hours on yesterday. But I
Yeah.
like it.
And sometimes we have to do that, and then
Yes.
yeah, and that's fine. Sometimes it is worth rebuilding to get to that.
Yep. Oh, for sure. Compared to like long-term benefits, like totally worth it.
Yeah. So,
Yay.
any last questions or comments that people are frustrated about? Yeah, the segment thing is very frustrating, and unfortunately, a lot of times when you get through to support, just like with any support, you get into the first line, and
They have
then
no
you
idea.
really, yeah, they don't know, and you've got to just keep pushing back and pushing back. So a lot of times, what I've found also is if you make a bit of noise on the community forums, there are a lot of people on the product, and I don't mean disrespectfully. I just mean if you go and you're articulate and say, "Hey, I'm having this issue. This is what I've been told. Is anyone else having it?" I've seen a lot of people that are on the product team. We know their names that are
get a
in
bit more
those.
traction.
Yeah, and they are often responding to those. And I've seen it where someone says, "Let's take this, offline," and then it might speed things up a little bit. So I wouldn't necessarily, if you feel definitely okay, there's something not quite right, you've been given an answer that is just brushing you off, then there are other forms. And obviously you could post something on LinkedIn. Other people might have experienced the same. Other people might have more technical knowledge or information they can share. So
yeah.
Don't just take the first answer if you're like pretty sure that it's wrong. If it's just that you don't like it and that's how it works, then okay. But if it's not the right answer.
Yes, and yes. We have a question. How would you go about sending
that's
customer?
Okay. Don't worry about the can of worms. We can just push them back down.
No, it's fine.
Yeah,
it's
fine.
nothing new. It's freaking segments. Richard has a question. Not bad. How would you go about sending customer journey emails, the pretty ones, instead of email templates via Power Automate? Why?
You wouldn't send them via Power Automate. You're not going to be able to send them via Power Automate. They would have to go out of customer insights. So I guess it's like, what is the use case for it? Is it just because you want to send an email that typically you would use the Outlook connector and you want to make it look pretty? But what I would say instead is have your email already created, and then whatever is the purpose of using Power Automate to send someone the email, have a trigger and put that person into the journey and send them the email.
Yeah. If it's reusable enough that you're considering using an automation, create a trigger-based journey. Boom, done.
Yeah. You won't be able to send it via Power Automate, but you will be able to put the person into a lovely existing running journey with a pretty email. So
and you can do transactional if it's appropriate.
Yeah. So I would do that. So we're about time. Martin is typing, so he's gonna finish typing quickly.
It's a bit tense.
Like
better be good.
If it just comes up with thanks and
all good. No way.
You were typing for a while. Okay.
Apparently we shouldn't have to wait.
Aww. You're very welcome. Just teasing you. So, so the recording will be put online later on. It will be on YouTube, and also we already have the link for October. So if you want to, you can also register for that, and I'll put that in the chat too. So yeah, hopefully these are useful for people and getting another perspective or sort of knowing what's coming or what's happening.
Or you just think we're both great.
And they like your hair.
That's okay too. Yeah, well, I spent hours doing it this morning,
Awesome. Thank you very much, guys.
Always a pleasure.
Hopefully see you on the next one. Amey, go and get some sleep.
Yes, please.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye.